Kaboom.
All right. How y'all feeling?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Much more awake than I was before.
That's good.
Well, all right, folks. We want to welcome you today to another episode of the podcast, Nook and Cranium. And today we're going to be talking about, what are we going to be talking about?
Holidays.
Holiday stress. Change of the seasons. What's going on around us, what we should maybe be aware of, what could we do about it, how to deal with these times of transition of the seasons.
The Christmas anxiety.
Yeah, Christmas anxiety. They threw all the big holidays all in there together right before New Year's.
Right.
And in case that didn't wipe you out, then it's like, Valentine's Day coming right around the corner.
And then make sure they get started with the advertising early.
Oh yeah, you know they're going to be advertising.
Oh yeah. Thanksgiving, Black Friday's a holiday now for some odd reason.
It is.
Christmas Eve, all the things that people do. You got the other major holidays that fall in December. Then you got New Year's. It's call it the season of giving, but it's the season of stress and anxiety for sure for a lot of people.
Yeah. I will say there are so many other cultures that celebrate their own forms of holidays and then turn around and still celebrate all of the basic ones that we celebrate. And so I just don't know how they do it. It's a lot.
Exactly. I don't know how they come here, bring their traditions, pick up our traditions.
It's a lot of money.
But I mean, a lot of people can cope, but statistically, a lot of people can't. That's where we're coming in today.
Right.
Yeah. Should we start off talking about some statistics?
Sure.
To give people an idea.
Fire away.
Just a little awareness before we dive in, so they know why we're talking about what we're talking about.
So Perrigo, pharmaceutical company. I don't know how much I want to trust anything they have to say, but they did do a study, more of a poll of people. And the people who participated in the study, they found that 88% feel more stressed when celebrating the holidays versus the rest of the year. Breaks down to lots of seasonal things like seeing family that you don't see very often. Maybe you have family members that like to talk about stuff that is very stressful, or you don't see eye to eye, and that can cause a lot of issues. The biggest thing is money. Everybody gets a lot of anxiety when they think about spending more money, not just on gifts, but also spending money on food. When you host a Thanksgiving dinner or a Christmas dinner or any celebration during the holidays, the meals get expensive.
Oh yeah, they do. They definitely can.
That's great.
I remember when I was in college, we'd do I think we called it a Friendsgiving, because it was like Thanksgiving that you usually spend with your family, but it was like whoever didn't drive or fly home during the break, all the friends at college would just get together. But what we would do often would be, when we would get together, it would be a potluck situation. So everybody would bring something. And so not one person was tasked with having everything, turkey, stuffing, yams, cranberry sauce, sweet potato pie, whatever. It was like you just brought one or two things and enjoyed everything.
That's actually a good piece of advice. Starting off with Thanksgiving dinner, if you get a lot of stress about cooking the meal, task people that are coming with bringing something with them. I know when some of my family celebrates Thanksgiving, people bring different meals, but other parts of my family, when they celebrate, Like my grandmother makes everything and insists on making everything. And I know that she gets something from it and she appreciates that. But I'm sure there's probably other people, maybe they've, maybe they do the whole meal because they feel like they're obligated to. It's not necessarily something that they want to do.
Right.
And you know,
yeah.
breaking that habit and having other people bring food can be a good thing unless nobody brings anything good.
Right.
I don't have advice for that.
The shared experience can definitely help alleviate some stress. But I also can say that my grandmother in particular, that's she loves to cook everything. Partly because she knows where her hands have been, and she knows that she wants her kitchen to be a certain way, and she doesn't want everybody in the kitchen with her. But she also, I remember she told me once, like she enjoys doing that for her family, and just watching us eat. A lot of times, with my grandma, it's like, when are you going to eat? When do you sit down and eat? But she's doing what she enjoys, serving everyone.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, we had Thanksgiving, but it was almost always just the immediate family, and we did it was mostly pretty nice because we would we'd flip on the parade, we'd be cooking some food, maybe we'd be playing some games or something. You had the day out of school. I might be over at your house. Yeah, we enjoyed each other's company, and there wasn't really, for one, it wasn't a very big meal. You had all the normal fixings, but you didn't need, 30-pound birds and full trays of thises and that's. We got by on little bits of here and there, and there were still leftovers. Still got to enjoy that too. But there wasn't any extended family there, and that took a lot of stress out of it. But I'm sure, even then it's still an expensive meal.
Yeah. I can say that we've done extended family. My family is split, so a lot of my holidays are a shared experience, and so I would rotate, and I still do it now to this day. If I go do Thanksgiving with my mom and her side of the family, then I do Christmas with my dad and his side of the family, and so a lot of the holidays is going to be me splitting my time. So some holidays I won't see particular people, and I'll see other people. And I know for me, it wasn't stressful, but I can only imagine, especially when I was younger, me not being around when particular people wanted me around could be stressful, especially like my mom or like people missing me on the holidays and want me to be there. So this is part of that subject.
Yeah.
My parents are also split. I've been to only a couple of Thanksgivings with either one since. It's been 17 years now.
Here's this.
We don't do a lot of Thanksgivings together. My grandmother, it's funny, the one who did like cooking, eventually stopped liking cooking. And then they always wanted to go out for Thanksgiving dinner.
I completely understand that.
There was a couple restaurants in town that would make it Thanksgiving, and they wanted to go. And it had its novelty, and it was cool once or twice. But then it was the same place, the same food. It wasn't as good as home food. It wasn't bad. But it wasn't quite the same. There wasn't really a family situation thing going there. And there was enough of us going to that one that we didn't fit at a table. We were at two tables. There's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe 7, 8 people to a table. But the tables were, 6, 8 feet apart. It wasn't a family thing anymore. You can't yell because the room's full of other families.
I felt like that would be the worst. Like if my grandma was like, you know what, I don't want to cook anymore. And it's like, no, none of us want to cook either. So it's like, hey, we're going to go to K&W for Thanksgiving. It's like,
right,
oh my gosh.
That would be the place too.
And I actually love K&W. Just, I guess not for Thanksgiving.
Is it still any good?
You want to get more, but you got to pay every time.
Right. I would say that K&W is my kind of good. So I'm going to stick to what I know. And that particular stuff is good for me.
I got you.
Man,
my wife's parents are also split. So when the holidays come around, it's not that we're deciding who to visit during the holidays. Mm-hmm. We find ourselves figuring out what excuses we're going to make for the people that we don't get to visit during the holidays, or making excuses for not visiting anybody during the holidays just to avoid the whole thing. Because we could go to her mom's side of the family's dinner, and then her dad's side of the family's wondering why we didn't come. I was like, well, we went to that one. And I said, well, it's not good enough. It's like, what are we supposed to do?
Got to establish the ground rules.
Can't please everybody. Yeah.
So we found ourselves not really going anywhere for the holidays. We spend the holidays at home, or we a Friendsgiving like you did in college. It's just our families don't get along, and it's just too much stress to visit any of them. None of them live close to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they make a big difference too.
It does.
The closest is a half a day's drive.
Wow. What is that, going north or south?
North.
It's about 7-8 hours or something.
Well, no, my mother's about 5 hours from us, but she's almost always working on holidays.
Okay.
My wife's family's about 8 hours away. My dad's side of the family is like 17 hours away driving.
You picked a great place to live, Zach.
This far.
I'm not going to say we did it on purpose.
That's hilarious.
I could relate to that. Yeah.
I will say, when you look at holiday depression, there's so many different areas as far as individuals it can come from. And so you have your older family individuals who may have experienced loss that we all have to deal with. But as your family gets smaller, it definitely impacts the older generations. And then you have around our age group and even younger, for various different reasons. There's so many areas that we can go with this topic. Me, in general, one reason that we did talk about it, that I would feel holiday depression is always like financials. And so I have this thing I do where I always say I don't want people to get me things for a holiday because I have so much family and I just can't buy everybody stuff. So it's like, well, don't give me nothing. I have a lot of family, and in hindsight, I would love to be able to just get everybody something. But it's so difficult when your family is so big. So that's one thing that I would say I experience holiday depression. Is there any areas that you two can specifically speak to where you feel like holiday depression at all?
I can definitely. Sorry, the hurts.
Stretch it out.
Tight
that Nook and Cranny over there.
It's a tight Nook over here. The desk doesn't move. The desk is like 20 feet long, attached to the wall.
Oh man, that's a banquet table. We need to have Thanksgiving over there.
Right.
Yeah, we do. I can definitely relate to you on the finances. And a couple episodes ago, you actually touched base on consumerism, and that's another good segue to talk about Black Friday, because most people's Christmas shopping starts Black Friday a month before Christmas. And it makes sense because things get harder and harder to find. You got to find that perfect gift. But if you don't find the gift, now you've got this stress of finding it. And you got this stress of paying for it. And now multiply that by however many gifts you got to buy.
Right.
So the financials part, I can certainly relate to that. We try to buy gifts for each of our immediate families. Most of our extended family understands that you can't buy gifts for everybody, and we've certainly reached an age where they don't really buy gifts for us anymore. Aside from the financials, one of the hardest things about the holidays is actually being in the presence of your family, because you go and then they want to talk about politics, or they want to talk about religion. Maybe you butt heads on religious beliefs, and maybe they want to talk about money, or maybe you need money. And now they don't want to invite you because they know you're gonna ask for money.
Hey, Uncle Moneybags, man, how you been doing?
I know you got it.
Who invited you? Oh, I mean, hey, nephew, how you doing?
What about you, Eric?
It's definitely busy. Traffic is crazy.
Oh, the traffic.
Yeah.
How could I forget about the traffic?
Oh, yes. Traffic gets wild. People drive like they've lost their minds sometimes during the holidays. And everybody is the most important person on the road.
A couple of days before Thanksgiving is like the busiest travel day of the year, apparently.
Yes. Yeah. So that means gas prices are going on up. Airline tickets are going on up. They're charging more for bottled water if they can. Yeah.
Even more money going out the pocket.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But you just gotta have fun. You gotta have fun. It's too many things that'll stress you if you let it.
Right.
Just got to have fun. There go cousins over there talking about money issues and politics again. Man, they crazy. It's okay, but those issues really do drive family apart. And I remember when I was growing up, when I was really young, it was just like my mother and father, and like always going to church at the time, and so the church family, and we would do things in our family or with the church group during holidays. It was Adventist Christian, so they weren't really big on celebrating holidays. A lot of the holidays were considered pagan and this and that. And so, they weren't, we were never really all that big on holidays. I suppose that took kind of some of the stress off. Of course, I was a kid, what I got to be stressed about, even if there was things to be stressed about, I wasn't really, too concerned with it, bills and things like that. So I think my parents at the time were just good at providing the environment to allow, me and my brother and sister just to be kids. If we had a point where we were poor, I didn't know we was poor. It was just,
right.
We just living life. But so there was that. And then around age 9, we just living with my mom at that point. Moved to the East Coast with her family. And I discovered I had so many cousins, so much family on the East Coast, North Carolina. And so we're having holidays, and it's like, it's grandma, great grandma, it's grandma's kids, grandma's sisters and brothers, their kids, the kids' kids. I got all these cousins. Some of my cousins got kids, the older ones. And so if my grandma had a house at the time, she had a nice big house, and we'd all go over there. And then usually after we ate and hung out with our cousins or whatever, sometimes we go to my grandma's sister's house and do the whole thing all over again. And so my memories of that was just kind of excited about hanging out with my cousins. Christmas gifts was cool. It wasn't never nothing crazy. I knew nobody was gonna like buy me the PlayStation 2 or anything. I was gonna get some socks, some Uno, something inexpensive, but it was gonna be exciting to open that package and, oh man, that got my name on it. Open it up, see what it was, and but fast forward, like, I'll talk to my cousins and stuff, and we just talk, and we're like, man, I remember back in the day when we used to all get together, and the family is just we're just not together that much. We have a holiday, and this part of the family go over here, this part of the family go over there. They don't talk to them, and da 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 da. And so, man, it's there's the stress of the holiday, but it also seems like, in this day and age, it's a little bit different than it was, in the past. At least for some of us, I think the culture in the country has shifted to be a little bit more individualistic, definitely consumer centered more than ever. But the whole idea of being around extended family, which I didn't have so much when I stayed on the West Coast, was more like immediate family and church family. But then on the East Coast, I had a big experience of being around extended family on holidays. Back then in the 90s, and I don't know, maybe a little bit the early 2000s. But now, on holidays, I'll still get up with the family, but it'll be smaller groups. And if I want to see everybody, I gotta make different trips, not just 2 trips, because everybody doesn't fit in one house, but a bunch of trips. And then we're spread out because a lot of the family living in Charlotte, Greensboro, High Point. And it's just different now than how it used to be. And I see how different stressors have played into it. Different disagreements about political things, ideology, religious beliefs, so on and so forth. Just gotta enjoy it, Gotta, life is here. It could be full, it could be eventful, but it's also too short to just worry about things. There's a lot of things you can worry about. It's always an option.
I can't really relate to the coast to coast family split. We had family that moved out west to California, and then they just didn't participate in the holiday events.
Okay.
Just because that was just too much hassle, I guess. But then you think about it, they've got their family, and their significant other has their family, and it's just so on and so forth. Another thing I was thinking of is just couples fighting during the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
That same Parago study said that couples will engage in at least 7 arguments over the course of the holidays. And I was looking into it, and I was wondering, what do they argue about? And it's stuff like where to spend the holidays, like whose house they're going to go to. And I totally understand that. How much money to spend on gifts, who cleans up after dinner was apparently a big argument. Sometimes, and it showed in there a couple other things that I can't really relate to, arguing over who's checking the emails, whether they're getting a real or fake Christmas tree, and then arguing over people picking at the food before it's ready.
Don't bring that fake tree in my house. Getting a real Christmas tree.
It's crazy.
But it makes such a mess.
I want some needles on the floor.
It's crazy that these are this is reality, because people have traditions that they grew up with, and those traditions mean so much to them that it just causes fights. And it's interesting, to say the least.
And things have changed so much, like from our grandparents' generation of celebrating the holidays to our generation, our kids' generation of celebrating the holidays. It's different. It's way different.
Yeah, I think with the family institution it was a lot clearer before, and now we have a lot of disruptions in society, technology, and just a lot of different things going on, and a lot of us are just kind of winging it. We're just kind of winging it. We don't know what we're doing. We're just kind of winging it. So holidays come up, and there may not be a unified tradition for us all to join in. It's like, well, my family did this. Well, my family did that. Oh, and then, well, which thing do we want to do? And, you have to be able to find some middle ground or be able to just sit back in a position where like, hey, let me try something new this time.
So even though the holidays have changed generationally, they're also different at different times. Like, for example, this year, 2024, we're going to have the holidays. We've got ongoing global instability with the war in Gaza, and now it's in Lebanon, possibly even Iran or anywhere else over there. You got some war in Ukraine still going on. And then at the same time, people want to buy gifts. We're still seeing the effects of COVID's inflation. And then on top of all that, we got an election year.
Right.
And not just any election year, a very, very polar division.
I feel like this election year is a good example that speaks to I think why in our society, in our country, the push has been for people to be kind of individualistic in a sense. We did talk about that before, and even discussing the consumerism with being in a tight-knit family. A lot of times your values, and this has been stated before as well, is established by your circle. And so, as we said earlier, when you go and visit with your family, sometimes there's a division with political views or how we see different things, but those parts of the family stay connected because they share the same values. And so a lot of times you'll see that is the family that thinks the same and acts the same are the ones that stick together and they start celebrating and doing community together. I think with our economy and the way our country is, they prefer us to have these individualistic mindsets that cause the division. So now we're in a situation where we look at everything like almost like a competition. The war is almost like a competition. People are, and to me, sometimes it even seems like the election people are viewing it as a form of entertainment versus like this is really something that's going to impact their lives. I think a lot of people are having some sense of pleasure on this election, and they're voting based on reasons beyond, oh, this is really going to have an impact. Like you should really think about why you're voting and who you're voting for. So this is an interesting year for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. You drew that. You mentioned it being like entertaining, the politics, like them treating it like it's not serious, not objective, and hey, I'm gonna present the facts and represent with my political views and plans and so on and so forth. It's more like it is more like entertainment. These different politicians taking jabs at each other. It almost seems like WrestleMania
Right.
or something, like, you know, before a big wrestling event, WWF, WCW, something like that. You have these different groups and they're fighting and they got words for each other, and somebody attacks someone out of the blue while they're making a speech, or it's like, it's very much like that.
Yeah.
And then the way the news covers it, and it's very like sensational and like Zach mentioned, polarizing, and yeah, that's interesting.
Every outlet is covering it differently.
Yep.
Everybody's coming at the same information from a different angle, and doing their best to make it even more confusing or to make it more entertaining. It's I don't know when a presidential election was supposed to be entertaining.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was boring growing up.
It is supposed to be a boring person good at their job. You don't want to have to hear from that person unless there's a problem.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's okay to have a little charisma, but it's a difference between having a little charisma, being like a good public speaker or leader, and then just, coming off like Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, or something like that. That's for the entertainment,
But I digress. I want to move on to another statistic that I found. The National Alliance on Mental Illness stated that among those people who live with or suffer from mental illness, a quarter of those people that they polled said that their mental illnesses are much, much worse during the holidays. And of the remaining people polled, almost half said that it was worse, but not significantly worse. So essentially, only a quarter of people said that their mental illness wasn't worse during the holidays.
I mean, I can see that for several reasons. Because, for the holidays, we're talking about Christmas, Thanksgiving, and the time of year with Hanukkah, New Year's, all those things. It's wintertime. When's Hanukkah?
Yeah.
Wintertime.
Yeah.
Wintertime. Kwanzaa.
It's all wintertime.
Anyway, all wintertime. Am I leaving some holidays out?
Kind of. Thanksgiving is not really winter, but it might as well be.
Approaching.
It's the precursor to the winter holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting cold. It's starting to get cool.
Winter is coming.
Yeah.
In some areas, it's very cold.
Some areas it is. Somewhere you go to Chicago or something, it's wintertime. It's wintertime Thanksgiving for real over here. Y'all got snow. They catch them turkeys real easy. Just catch one in a patch of ice.
I know some reasons that the holidays would cause anxiety. We look at fatigue, over commercialism, families, the anxiety from either not being able to see your family, or you have the flip side, being around too much family, and that anxiety are a few reasons for that I can think of.
Yeah, you got all those things. Anxiety, dealing with family, and just a lot going on. It's kind of a disruptive time socially, societally, but then also naturally, you got the seasons changing. What does that mean? What does it have to do with anything? It's cold. I'm stressed out because I'm cold. I gotta wear sweaters. Probably not, but what's not here as much? Sunlight. People aren't laying on the beach and going to the park as much. And when they do go out, they're covered up. Everything is covered but their face. Some people walking around with ski masks on, not even their faces exposed to the sunlight. And so people are getting depressed because they're not getting enough sun. They're getting sick because the immune system's suffering because they're not getting enough sun.
Right.
And that's huge, actually. I mean, it's huge in multiple ways. It's huge because it has a huge effect on physical, mental well-being. And it's also huge because it affects so many people
Right.
every year.
Yeah, and that lack of vitamin D is one of the major contributing factors to seasonal affective disorder, which we'll probably cover in the next episode.
I have a vitamin D deficiency, so that's something I deal with.
Well, during the winter, most people do.
Yeah.
Also, the stress of the holidays and the anxiety inadvertently affects women more than men. And I could certainly see why. I mean, in some households, maybe the woman is in charge of the finances. So maybe she's more worried about them and just watching that number just shrink. But I think traditionally, they also took on more responsibility for the meals. You got small kids. Who steps up to the plate? It's always mom,
Right.
auntie.
Mm-hmm. So what do we do? Think it's a really good question. These holidays come around. I tapped on Halloween being your buffer start for this big season of holidays right before we get to your Thanksgiving, your Christmas, and your New Year's stretch.
You get to pretend to be somebody else.
Yep.
Stuff your face with candy.
Right. So if we could discuss, like, what are some ways that we can kind of fight against this holiday depression? I'm going to start with understanding that it's important that you build community. I think this is a difficult area when you have to deal with losing family or not having a good relationship with your family, or even struggling with maybe you're an introvert. Maybe you find it difficult to make friends, but community is your life experience. This is what you're doing. So you build community, work, your hobbies, everything you do in life, and finding the community is very important for all of us.
Absolutely. That's something you might have to start well in advance. That's something you work on to build up for your future holiday seasons.
Right. And so just understanding what are you into? Find people that like to do the things that you like to do as a start. And that's something that would take work.
I hate to say it, but if spending the holidays with your family is that big of a deal, perhaps you spend the holidays with someone else, or not go visit family. Maybe you spend one of the holidays with family, take another one off.
I agree. A lot of people do have the issue of stressful family. So sometimes it is okay to establish other community that you can do a holiday with. I feel like Halloween is probably a good holiday to prepare you to do things with different sets of people that you can build a relationship with. Because Halloween is very versatile. To me, it almost seems like it's grown out. Can you all tell a difference from when we were like younger, as far as being an adult and celebrating Halloween? Like, do you feel like it's any different from like the 90s to the 2000s to now?
I would say so. I know. So I don't have any kids, as you know, but a lot of my coworkers do have kids, and they don't do as much of the door to door as they used to do. Last year, we had nobody come to our door. They coordinate like events at parks or community centers,
Trunk or treat,
or they do trunk or treat, exactly. And they don't really go out into the neighborhood and scour like they used to. And I don't know if COVID had a big part in that, because not having kids and also not doing the whole trick or treat thing myself, I didn't really pay much attention to when it was evolving.
Right. I would say COVID and just a growing sign of the times of safety. So I would say that having kids walk around, if the parents or guardians can't be there, it's not as good of an idea now as it would have been back then, or as safe. And it still was a safety concern back then. We've always had to worry about, checking your candy, making sure you're staying well-lit areas, and being around, being chaperoned in the six. But my thinking is maybe people don't have enough time to do the chaperoning part, or just being out there with the kids, and it's just easier to create smaller group events.
Maybe it could be that. Also, when we were kids, it was a little bit different, because if we walked up to somebody's door and they're like, "Here's the stickers," we still took it.
That's about it.
It's still in the bag.
Yep. They care about nothing.
It might be a little different now.
Yeah.
God bless you, mister. Thanks for the
Wiping
candy.
the nose.
But
Yeah.
Or the community ball.
Yeah,
Snotty
everybody
nosed
hands
kid
in there.
reaching in there and grabbing some and moving on.
That bowl is liable to be empty off of the first contact.
Oh, I know.
Halloween now is, I think, commercially is getting pushed a lot. Just from what I've seen, it just seems to be so much more popular than I remember it being amongst everyone.
You remember when we were kids, you had to like set your clock. You had to mark on your calendar what day the Halloween store was going to open, so you could go and try to pick out a costume or something before it was gone.
Yeah.
Now costumes are online for sale all year long. There are some Halloween stores that have permanent installments.
Yep.
Or they have permanent installations. They're there the whole year, just selling Halloween costumes and party supplies.
Right.
And we didn't have access to it like that when we were growing up. Everything was, you didn't think about it well ahead of time. It came up on you like, what are you going to do? Just shave my head. I'm going to be a monk. I don't.
That's true.
Do you remember that? You remember when I shaved my head and I was a monk?
Yeah. That's hilarious.
I just cut it real short. And then I had that fake skin that went over top of the brown cloak.
Okay.
Does anybody have a highlight costume, like their best costume?
That was my best costume.
My highlight costume just is because I made it. I made when I was in elementary school. I don't know what age, but I made a Ninja Turtles costume with a Food Line grocery bag, the paper bag. Colored the front part and the back part for the shell, and I had a race car track as my sword. I was Leonardo, and I had the bandana, and that was one of my best costumes. Because of the work that I put in.
That's pretty cool.
I put in work for that.
That's right. A lot of people used to make their costumes.
Yeah, it was so fun. Like I never looked at it like, oh my gosh, I didn't get a costume. It was like, it was eventful. Like I got to make this.
Yeah. Use creativity.
Yeah.
I know this is on a different level, but one thing that came to mind when you were asking about ways to kind of to ease into the holidays and stuff you can do to help with the stress and anxiety, the first thing that came to my mind was actually was alcohol.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying drink alcohol. I'm actually saying drink less alcohol, because alcohol itself is a depressant. So if you're already suffering from anxiety and you have depression, or you're having trouble with family, or if you're in the house with family, you might not want to be drinking to have more conversation with that family.
Right.
Yeah.
Teach us.
Yeah, good point.
That is a very good point.
Good point. Yeah. Yeah. I think one thing I wanted to add when we were talking about things that you can do. So we all mentioned vitamin D, get your sunlight, stay physically active. Don't, it's cold, I'm gonna stay indoors all the time and in front of the TV. Stay physically active. And it's nice to be around folks, like-minded friends. You need that sometimes. Sometimes you need time to yourself. Around holidays, a lot of people are working overtime. Oh, they offering the bonus time and a half. I need to pay for all these gifts. So people work overtime, second jobs, constantly around people, or just constantly focused on something.
Getting less sleep.
This has all their attention and not putting their attention on themselves, getting less sleep. And so sometimes you just got to help yourself out first. Such and such wants this and such wants that, and this person wants to do this and this person wants to do that. Sometimes you just, whoa, hold up, wait a minute. Taking some time for myself. Sometimes you got to take time for yourself and make sure you're in a good place. Because then when it comes to dealing with all these other things, when you got your vitamin D levels up, you feel good because you've been moving, exercising, doing whatever you like to do, running, jogging, biking, boating, swimming, whatever. Just move, yoga, whatever. But when you're doing that, taking care of your sleep, taking care of the way you eat, when other things come up, it's going to be a lot easier to deal with, And, just imagine you're at a celebration around the holidays with a bunch of friends and family around, and everybody is vitamin D deprived and stiff and achy, hadn't been moving, and sleep deprived and overworked, and they're trying to all come together and have a good time. Well, everybody's not feeling good. Everybody needs sleep and needs different things. So it's going to be difficult to have that great experience that you want to have. But when you do your part, taking care of them, at least make sure that you're rested and giving yourself what you need first. Then when time comes and you feel, okay, I've given myself what I need and I'm going to go out here and I'm going to spend some time with family, it's likely going to be a much better experience. And even if it's not going to weigh on you the same way.
That is so good. I think the most important thing is to do it, to do exactly what was said, which is something for yourself. Focus on you. And that's one thing, even when we hear it, we don't take the time to ourselves. So that's good. That's really good.
You just drove 16 hours to get to their house. True. You haven't eaten in 2 days. You're like, yep. I'm saving room for the meal. I gotta get doubles and triples. Gotta go back. And now you're not thinking straight because you're hangry.
Ain't that right?
And then you probably tried to save room, but you were drinking during that times. So you've been drinking alcohol, but you didn't eat nothing. And then once you do eat, the food made you sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Itis.
Wow.
Had a little bit of vegetables on your plate the first time, and then came back the second time with an all dessert plate filled to the brim.
Also, don't be afraid to cancel plans. Everybody makes all these plans. They glorify it. They like, can you come? Yeah, I can come. Can you come? Yeah, I'll be there. And then you find out it is too much. You're doing too much. You know, you made plans for lunch and dinner the same day, and people that live 8 hours apart. What'd you do? Cancel one of them. It's okay. They'll understand.
Yeah.
Think about the holiday events that you've taken place or that you've been a part of in the past. Which ones did you enjoy? Which ones did your family enjoy? Those are the ones that you should go back to. If everybody focuses on doing what they enjoy for the holidays, everybody will enjoy the holidays. You don't have to do it for other people. Do it for you and your family.
Very good point.
If Friendsgiving is the answer, go spend Thanksgiving with some friends. Not everybody has the perfect platonic family to go celebrate the holidays with. And that's okay. I don't. Yeah, I spend the holidays, at home or with one of you guys. We don't travel too far to see families because they don't make a real big deal out of holiday stuff. Our families have been split for so long that a lot of the events that they do, there's a lot of people there we haven't seen in years and years and years. And it's too much to go and spend the 3 or 4 days that I could possibly get off work just trying to get to know people that I'm not going to see again for years and years and years.
That's right.
Hey.
And I think everyone should understand that it is not fair if someone is trying to make you feel bad for not doing certain things and they don't consider your personal feelings. So if they're not taking you into consideration when you do make those decisions to cancel a plan or you decide, hey, we're just going to stay home this holiday. If the people you're saying this to aren't considering your feelings, it's not fair. And this all should be done in fairness and love. Most of us, when we do make these decisions on what we're going to do, there's plenty of family to spread around, and just do what you feel. Don't allow anybody to take your joy away. Don't allow anybody to kind of bring you down when you're making those important decisions for yourself and your family.
People can't make you feel bad without your consent.
That's good.
So you're taking ownership of that. Like, taking ownership of your own state of being. And I think another thing, in addition to putting yourself first sometimes, taking care of yourself. It's not an egotistical thing, taking care of your health, your wellness, enlightened self-interest.
You can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself.
Yeah. Right. And after you take care of yourself, some people will go out on Thanksgiving or Christmas or something and go help someone that can't help them back. And I think that's a good thing, doing some charity or doing something like that, especially if you're inspired to do so.
It'll make you feel good about yourself and about what you're doing. it'll warm your heart to do good things for people, especially when you're not expecting anything in return. A lot of people are buying gifts for family members because there is the expectation they're getting gifts back from family members. And then it was never intended to be like that. It was, you got a little something for somebody as a gift, or you didn't. You didn't have to. You weren't. Maybe you always were expecting something in return. I know as a kid you're expecting some gifts,
right?
The socks and
Yeah.
It's like
I lost some of them cars from last year. I need another.
I don't fit in last year's socks.
Hello, growth spurt. I need new socks. I got new shoes. I need new socks. But that's good. Anybody else got any good pointers? Or
I'd say if your holiday meal is going to be particularly heavy and particularly unhealthy, maybe focus on the counter of that leading up to it. That when it's over with, maybe go back and eat some things that are a little bit more healthy to kind of help you through that time. I know that my wife and I don't really participate in a lot of holiday events anymore because we prefer to eat a certain way. Our families prefer not to accommodate us. There's probably a lot of people that have similar situations.
Yep.
Not everybody eats turkey for Thanksgiving, and there's, millions and billions actually of people who don't want a ham on Christmas.
It's very true.
Well, thanks for joining us again. I hope you like this. It's a new setup. We're all able to get together remotely and have this where prior episodes we got together in a central location that's much more difficult. We all live several hours apart.
Yep.
We hope to be able to do this more often, bring some more content. Check out our merch.
It's wherever he's
Buy us
pointing.
a coffee. Yep. Buy us merch.
It's over that way. Absolutely.
But seriously, though, merch is at nookandcranium.com. You also find a link to donate if you like what we're doing. This isn't free. Well, we could use some help.
Absolutely.
Also, check out our other videos, previous episodes of the show. Look for the next ones. Like and subscribe.
Razzle dazzle.